With so many games releasing later this year, one of the primary things that a lot of gamers look for is bang for your buck. Which game can you get the most playtime for and enjoyment out of for your money? Well, in this video, that's what we're going to be taking a look at. We're going to be looking at 10 upcoming games that you're probably going to be able to spend over 100 hours on. Now, all of these games are releasing in 2018 and they're being released on a wide variety of platforms, so we'll be sure to mention those as well. Without further ado, let's get right into this. I think the game that goes without saying that you're going to be able to spend over 100 hours on is Fallout 76. That is the case for just about any Bethesda open world game, and with Fallout 76 you're adding that layer of multiplayer to it as well, so the longevity that you're going to get out of Fallout 76 is going to be huge. On top of that, Bethesda has always been pretty good in keeping their experiences updated and fresh, and I'm sure we'll get downloadable content and things like that as well, but even the base game alone, you'll probably be able to spend over 100 hours on that, especially when you do factor in the multiplayer component. Fallout 76 will be released on PC, PS4, and Xbox One on November 14th.
Fallout to gather rare and valuable resources. Yet these rewards don't come without risk.
Next up, we have probably the second most obvious game on this list, so let's get those two out of the way right away, and that is Red Dead Redemption 2. Again, it's a Rockstar experience, it's a Rockstar open world game at that, so you know what you're getting yourself into. The first Red Dead Redemption was a game that many of us spent well over 100 hours on, and with Red Dead Redemption 2, you've seen the strides that Rockstar has made over the last few years. You look at the leap we saw from GTA 4 to GTA 5, if that's the same level that we're looking at between RDR 1 and RDR 2, this game is going to be absolutely massive. We know there's going to be an online component. We know the single player mode is going to be expansive. This is a title that it's a foregone conclusion that we're going to be spending over 100 hours on. And to be perfectly honest, I think most gamers can't wait to do so on October 26th as the game is released on PS4 and Xbox One. So those are probably the two most obvious games. For the third game, I'm going to throw you a curveball, and that is Tetris Effect. Yes, a Tetris game of all things, but if you know what Tetris is all about, well, Tetris Effect probably won't be at the scale of RDR 2 or Fallout 76 in that it's this giant game. No, Tetris is just a puzzle game. If you've played Tetris in the past, you know how addictive of an experience is, and with Tetris Effect, this looks like an experience with a lot of longevity to it. And now you have the great music being added onto it, the PlayStation VR component, the amazing particle effects, everything is coming together with Tetris Effect. The early words we've heard on the game from press have been super positive, and if you are even remotely into Tetris, this is a game that you're always gonna go back to. And yes, it's a title that you're probably gonna end up spending over 100 hours on. Tetris Effect will be released exclusively on the PlayStation 4 on October 5th. Next up, I've got to mention Call of Duty Black Ops 4. For those of you that are fans of Call of Duty, you're probably going to spend over 100 hours on it, and yes, they are removing the single-player campaign from Call of Duty Black Ops 4, and I was one of those people that was very disappointed by it. But guess what? They're adding a Battle Royale mode, and in terms of content and replayability, a Battle Royale component to the game is going to have way more replayability than a single-player campaign, so for this end, a Battle Royale mode definitely helps out a ton, and not to mention, you've got the standard multiplayer mode, you're going to have a deep zombies experience as well. All of those elements are going to come together in creating a very replayable experience. If you're into Call of Duty, you're going to breeze through 100 hours playtime no problem, probably well over 200 hours to be perfectly honest. Call of Duty Black Ops 4 comes to PC, PS4, and Xbox One on October 12th.
Simplified and pure, but it's still very much a Call of Duty game. You still have create a class, you're still selecting weapons and their attachments, you still have wild cards and score streaks, and all the things that you'd expect out of a Black Ops or a Call of Duty game is all there still. But the specialists bring that tactical aspect of the game, slow the game pace down a little bit, create decision-making.
Next up, since we mentioned Call of Duty, we've got to mention Battlefield 5 as well. Battlefield and Call of Duty have always gone head-to-head in terms of competition. They're actually releasing a week apart, so that competition will definitely be put to the test later this year as well. With Battlefield, you do have a single-player campaign. In this game, you will have a deep multiplayer experience as well. EA has also confirmed that all of the multiplayer maps to Battlefield 5 will be absolutely free, so that is going to add free and extra longevity to the game, and on top of that, there will be a Battle Royale component released, not at launch, however, it will be coming sometime down the line. Whether that'll be a free update, that hasn't been confirmed yet, but if you're into Battlefield, another series that it goes without saying that you're going to spend over 100 hours on it, especially with the free DLC, especially with the upcoming Battle Royale mode after launch. 100 hours is going to be easy to clock in with Battlefield 5. It hits October 19th. Next up, we have God Eater 3. Yes, a Japanese title is making its way onto this list. If you've played God Eater in the past, you probably would associate it to something like Monster Hunter with an anime stylization to it, and that's definitely a good thing. God Eater is another franchise with a ton of replayability. Most of you are probably familiar with Monster Hunter, and if you know how many hours you can sink into those games, God Eater is very similar in that regard. Now, the anime presentation might turn off some people, however, it also might cater itself to a lot of people as well. So if you like the look of the game, it's only going to enhance your experience. The first two titles have already been released. They're available on the PlayStation 4, and you can sink many hours into those games as well, and God Eater 3 looks to be an even more expansive experience. We don't have an official release date yet for God Eater 3, but it was confirmed for a 2018 release on PC and PS4. Next up, we have a great survival game, and that is Subnautica. Subnautica is headed to the PlayStation 4. It has already been released on PC, and it's heralded by many to be one of the best survival games out there, and now it's finally making its way over to the PlayStation 4. It's a first-person survival adventure game in an open world. You play the lone survivor of a crashed spaceship in a fictional ocean planet. The ship's wreckage explodes shortly after starting the game, from which point it is up to you to survive and figure out what to do. You need to explore the game's world and survive the dangers of the planet while at the same time following the story of the game. You'll collect resources, construct tools and bases, and interact with the planet's wildlife. Subnautica doesn't have an exact release date confirmed at this point, but it was confirmed for a 2018 release window. And if you're into survival games, this is one to absolutely pick up.
10 seconds of oxygen remaining. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Next up, we have Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. Now, we got Monster Hunter World earlier this year, we're getting God Eater 3 later this year, and we're getting Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate on the Nintendo Switch. Monster Hunter Generations is more catered to your ardent Monster Hunter fan. This isn't gonna hold your hand much. It really is that core Monster Hunter experience, and it has a ton of content to it, maybe even more so than Monster Hunter World, and to have it on the go on the Nintendo Switch, this is gonna be fantastic and make it very easy for you to sink a lot of hours into it. Monster Hunter Generations was already released on the 3DS. This Ultimate version already saw a release in Japan. It was received very well over there. We did have to wait a little bit to get it over here, but it will finally be hitting the Nintendo Switch on August 28th. Next up, we have arguably the best racing game franchise with its latest release, and that is Forza Horizon 4. While Forza Motorsport to me has gotten a little bit stale, Forza Horizon has really reinvented that wheel, and Playground Games has done a phenomenal job with Forza Horizon, an open world racing game that is packed to the brim with content. And with Forza Horizon 4, it's going to feature over 450 cars, a route creator where you can create your own races, and the game takes place in a synchronized shared world. Each server supports up to 72 players, so multiplayer is going to be a big focus in this game, although you can play it offline as well. The map looks to be absolutely massive, and it is a representation of the United Kingdom. And this new title will be hitting Windows 10 and Xbox One on October 2nd. And lastly, how could we talk about games that are very replayable and you can sink hours upon hours into without talking about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is the Smash Bros. Game for the Nintendo Switch, and with this game, as the title of the game would suggest, is the ultimate version of Smash, including every character ever seen in a Super Smash Bros. Title. The current total roster of playable characters in Ultimate is 68, the highest number of playable characters in any game, of course. However, due to all of these characters being included, you're not going to be seeing a lot of newcomers, but who cares about that? To see all of the characters from every game ever return in this one. You've got Ridley in there as well. This is yet another massive system seller for the Nintendo Switch, and this is going to be one of the biggest games of this holiday season. It is going to be released a little bit later on towards the end of the year on December 7th, but still it's Super Smash Brothers, and we cannot wait for it. And of course, this will be exclusive to the Nintendo Switch. It won't be seeing a Nintendo 3DS release or anything like that, but again, you'll be able to play it on December 7th. So that is going to conclude this video. All of these games, I think it will be very easy for you to sink 100 hours into. Some of them are a little bit off the wall. I don't think a lot of you expected me to mention a title like Tetris Effect, but if you've been keeping up with that game, you know what's in store. And with a lot of other titles like RDR2, Fallout 76, Black Ops 4, Battlefield 5, I think it goes without saying those are easy to lock 100 hours into. But then you've also got titles like Subnautica, God Eater 3 that are going a little bit under the radar and you should keep your eyes on. That's going to conclude this video. Sound off with your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching and goodbye.